Let's go to Vegas!
Hi, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Liv.
And this is the Mach-E vlog. Today, we are in our second EV, a Chevy Equinox, and we're taking a road trip in it for the first time to Las Vegas, Nevada.
Ooh, let's go. This video is sponsored by EV Vita, creators of mods and accessories for all EVs and exclusive resellers of best EV mod accessories with direct customer support.
With EV Vita, it doesn't just end when you get their products. They have lots of tutorials. They're very quick to answer questions. We have their products in our Mach-E and our Equinox, and we're really proud to have them as a sponsor.
So yes, welcome to our very first road trip in our very own Chevy Equinox EV. I'm still frazzled because we are actually on our way to CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. If you don't know, that is like a mammoth endeavor, a marathon. The whole of Vegas is taken over, just like filled with all the best tech. And now, because EVs are some of the best tech out there, it's filled with that. It's filled with EVs, it's filled with charging goodness, all sorts of cool stuff. And we're gonna dive into it all. But we are packed up in our Equinox. The car is filled with everything that we need, hopefully. I'm doing that thing where it's like, do I have everything? Wallet, cell phone.
Yeah,
good, right?
I've done the wallet
The
check
wallet
like
check.
4 times. How many times do you check for your wallet when you leave the house?
Yeah.
On a road trip.
And he sent me that photo of that guy, the video of the guy who even took a photo to make sure his house was okay.
Yeah.
If you don't know, we had like a leak issue. So now I'm like even more paranoid. This was earlier last year, even more paranoid checking the house before we leave. So anyways, you catch us starting off this adventure on the road because we're booking it over there. It's Saturday and we're going to get there a little early. The first event starts tomorrow. We have so much fun planned and so much coverage, so much connecting. But
Which
for
is
now,
why I'm wearing my Meow Wolf shirt. This is Meow Wolf Santa Fe, but we're going to Meow Wolf Las Vegas. It's been in our other videos if you haven't seen that. But it's just a very fun thing, and Liv has her own shirt.
I have my own shirt, which is our tagline, of course, whatever you drive, enjoy the ride. We're not in the Mach-E, we're in the Equinox because this is our new vehicle. This is longer range than the Mach-E. And this is our first opportunity to try a nice, good chunk of a road trip, 5-ish hours of road trip. How long are we driving
There's
for?
a Mach-E.
It's another Mach-E. That's the second Mach-E that we've seen, and we've been driving for like 3 minutes. So on that note, we should start with where we are.
Yeah, we're going to give you the overview and why we're taking the Equinox. More than likely, for all of our road trips, we'll take the Mach-E. And the biggest reason is it has BlueCruise. We did not option SuperCruise on this, so it's more meant to be our second EV, even though it has quite a bit more range than our Mach-E. So it would make actually a good road trip car. Has rated for 319 miles of range. We left at 100% this morning, and it said 325 miles of range. Vegas is 294 miles from our house. And I was looking last night, and I should have took a screenshot, but I used a better route planner, and it said make one stop just east of Barstow at a Supercharger for 20 minutes. I'm using the routing in the car, and if you can see this, it's actually suggesting 3 stops, which is not what we're going to do. We're going to deviate from both plans. But before I get into that, I forgot I wanted to mention, so we have done this road trip in a Model Y, we've done it in a Mach-E, and now we're doing it in an Equinox. So it's sort of like a way to do that comparison to see how the different EVs function, because they all have different ranges as well as different charging profiles. And before, and still we have a little bit of like difference in where we can charge. So our Mach-E can charge at Tesla Superchargers. This can charge at Tesla Superchargers. But one of the common stops that a lot of people make is in Baker, California, and that Tesla Supercharger is not open to Chevy or Ford. So there are some differences in our EV route planning. but there's actually a decent amount of charging between Oceanside, where we live, and Las Vegas. So there's a good number of options. So speaking of why, where we're going to charge and why we're going to deviate, they just opened a new Supercharger in Barstow, California. It has 120 stalls, and they're all V4, and they all have Magic Dock. We have an adapter that we're going to probably use, but it does have Magic Dock. But I just wanted to check out that 120 stall Supercharger.
And if you don't know, by the way, Magic Dock is basically the adapter built in. If you're new and you don't know that, welcome. There are no stupid questions. This is to be an inclusive and welcoming community, and hopefully we can all share that and share our knowledge with each other and welcome newcomers, right? So if you don't know, Magic Docks, the adapter is built in. If your vehicle is capable of using the adapter, you can use your own. If not, you can use a Magic Dock.
And if you have anxiety about taking a road trip, doing something like this is like a good way of getting an introduction to EV road trips, because it's a fairly common route between like Oceanside and Las Vegas. We know there's lots of charging options, but even we've done this trip numerous times in our Mach-E, but I still have a little bit of anxiety because we haven't taken the Equinox very far at all, really. So, and then it's sort of like this Supercharger just opened. So I was like, okay, yeah, we're going to try and stop there. But what happens if for whatever reason it's not working? There are other options for us. So in general, it's always good to have a backup plan. And in general, like if you are new to EVs, take easy road trips, make sure you have backups to your backup plan until you get used to things. And if you're new to just a new EV, it's like get used to that EV. Because like I said, this one says it has 325 miles of range, but we only need to go 294 miles. So if you're inexperienced with a car and you're just making assumptions, you might just go like, that's more than I need. We're going to be okay. But I don't know the car. I don't know how much it's going to adjust that downward.
And Vegas is notoriously bad for charging. So we kind of never want to show up at Vegas low on charge. So we'll probably show up as full as we can.
Yeah, we'll see what we end up doing in Barstow. We probably will charge at least to 80%. We may charge again somewhere else just to make sure we go into Vegas with a decent amount of charge. It's notoriously bad. And then while CES is going on, it gets even worse because you have so many people coming up from the LA area, and people in LA drive a lot of EVs. So it can be really crowded and really busy even at the Tesla Superchargers. Last year, we were there with our Mach-E before we had Tesla Supercharger access, and it was a nightmare. Like every single EA station was full like the entire day, and we ended up, it didn't end up being a big deal because we went to Resorts World. They have a bunch of Autel chargers. We just parked there for the day and let it charge the entire day, and it was fine. That was level 2 slow charging while we were
That's still doable
in CES. This time, I think my strategy is going to be like go in with a decent amount of charge, drive around the whole week, and at some point we'll supercharge and get enough so that we can get back to, somewhere where there's Tesla Superchargers outside of Vegas. So we'll see.
So by the way, if you don't know our story, we obviously have our Mustang Mach-E GT Performance Edition. We love it. We've driven across the country in that and our original first edition, basically a premium. We do love all EVs. We picked up this EV to replace my EV or to replace the Leaf that I was borrowing from our friend Kyle Connor. I'm not driving though. I'm an amputee, a right leg amputee. I drive with my left leg. Long distances are not comfortable. I do take my prosthesis off when I drive long distances, which is very rare. It's been a long time. I just don't like that. I don't like being legless personally. Patrick's driving. I'm passenger princess.
Yeah, somebody asked Lori, one of our favorites, viewers. She said let Liv drive as long as she feels comfortable, and we thought about can we do this and switch around, but really it's just like a bit of an inconvenience, and because we're going to CES, we don't want to make Liv uncomfortable and have any issues before we go to this big event.
And if I'd driven, it would have been, the start in this section when my brain's so frazzled thinking about everything. So
Yeah.
Patrick is the driver. Now, you might wonder why we didn't option SuperCruise. We would love to have optioned SuperCruise. That would have been great for content, but we're not doing things for content. We're trying to be as authentic as possible, and we are frugal. Yeah, like we don't have money to throw around. So this was a cost-based decision. SuperCruise would be lovely. Memory seats would be lovely. That would be amazing. But we got the lowest that we were good with, the lowest package, 360 camera, and then power driver seats. So that's the absolute main priorities, really, for add-ons.
Yeah.
But other than that, now Patrick has to drive a whole road trip with his hands.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And, we've done some SuperCruise testing before. Performs very similarly to BlueCruise because it's also a hands-free highway driving system. So it'll be like going back to pre-BlueCruise. So if you're trying to make the decision of whether or not to option SuperCruise, we'll do a comparison to having BlueCruise, but it's basically it'll be comparing to SuperCruise or not. I think I'm going to miss it a lot. But we'll see, like, how do we feel? It's not a long trip. I think, by the way, Google Maps said it was going to be like 4.5 hours.
There's a Porsche meetup or something.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, shoot. Now it says it's just my time to the first charger. But I think it was like 5.5 hours or something like that with the charging stops. But I think it had too many charging stops. We'll see.
You have to let us know. Our latest idea has been to start trips on the road, throw you into the action as we go, and we can talk to you while we're driving, put it all together instead of like going somewhere and parking. Anyways, we said this was going to be a short intro to each other. It's not. We're excited. We're so hyped for CES. We're hyped for this road trip and to see how the Equinox performs. I'm excited to see how worn out or rested you feel after the drive.
It's relatively short, so we should be fine.
All right, so let's go. Update. This isn't really an update. Patrick's drinking some coffee while still having hands on the wheel. Don't you wish you had BlueCruise? Driving. Anyways, I wanted to point this out. This is from Simon with EV Vita. He sent us a couple accessories, including completely covered by the bags and everything, the rubber floor mats. Very cool and essential to me personally. Yeah, you can sort of see there, like, just it's already messy with stuff, so I find rubber floor mats an essential. But he also gave us this sort of clip-on thing. You can go back there, can have one on the other side as well, but I personally bonk my leg on it, so I kept it off. You'd bonk your leg on it too, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, so I like it. I could see like popping my phone there. I kind of like just getting used to the cabin and enjoying it on a road trip. But we were just commenting on like how much closer together we are than in the Mach-E.
It feels a little bit more compact in here.
It does, even though it is an equally large, if not a touch larger vehicle. So
5 inches longer.
5 inches longer, yeah. 5 inches longer, same width, right?
It's all about the same.
Around about the same, but yeah, interestingly more compact. But thank you, Simon, for a little bit of expansion of the storage space. Hello. I have to give a shout out to Zenny Optical. They're a glasses company. I've been wearing their glasses for years and years and years. And I reached out to them and they started sending me glasses, which is so cool. So they send me these, they let me pick them up, but they're the transition lenses. So it's kind of nice for now where it's like we don't have tinted windows on the Equinox, and sometimes it's bright, sometimes it's not. And we're going to hop in and out when we go charging. So these change purple. You totally can't see it. Can you tell it's purple?
No, I'm driving.
Okay, focus on the driving. Anyways, I think that's kind of cool. I had transition lenses years ago, and I felt like they're a little nerdy on me.
I used to have them when I wore glasses.
They're handy.
They're handy though.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, so good.
Okay, we are 85.4 miles, 85.5, 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour so far, which you may think is low, but I know like at our Mach-E, I've seen as low as like 2.0, 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour by this stretch. Decent highway speeds. As you can tell, we're doing some climbing. It'll go up on the other side, but this is generally one of our lower segments for efficiency. I do want to point out that Google Maps, if I zoom out, it's basically told us like we can now pick this new route that only needs 2 charging stops. And then as we were going further, it was like, how about this new route that only needs 1 charging stop? So basically it's saying instead of 3 charging stops, it's 1 charging stop in Baker for 44 minutes. I still want to stop in Barstow, so that's what we'll do. Barstow, I think we're down to about maybe 56 miles or so. So one of the things I want to try is I think there's a manual preconditioning button, which we don't have in a Mach-E. So that's neat to have here. I want to give that a try and see how that goes. I'm going to tap my brakes, let this guy come in. He's trying to get over, but he's not. So we're just going to have to keep going.
Give him a shot.
Overall, though, nice drive. I think our biggest things that we've noticed is how quiet it is in here.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I did notice the other day that the Mach-E is seeming a little louder. And so Patrick was theorizing maybe the tires are a little more worn, huh?
Yeah, Matt was saying in his Mach-E GT that as the tires got older, they got noisier. So, it's getting closer to that time when we need new tires in a Mach-E. Maybe that'll be one of our considerations, is making sure we pick tires that are rated for low noise and still good performance.
Yeah, and these are brand spanking new tires, obviously. So it'd be interesting to see these or hear them later on. We could compare videos. Maybe we could compare old videos in the Mach-E.
Yeah, and of course the Mach-E, because it's a GT Performance Edition, they have summer tires, which can be noisier in general anyways. These are just sort of like all-season regular tires, like no big deal.
Other than that, though, how's it been driving? Like actually driving?
It's not that bad. You get used to it, but I do forget sometimes like how wobbly I can be. Like when I'm like, let me just get something to drink, and you glance down for like not even a second, and you're like, whoa, whoops.
It's impossible not to. It really is. Like you have to be fully engaged when driving, and BlueCruise really helps you be engaged and smooth, huh?
It does, and even without the hands-free portion, like if you just have the intelligent cruise control with lane centering, it helps quite a bit. Even just keeping one hand on the steering wheel, because it gives you a few seconds of like not necessarily needing to really worry about things. You still got to pay attention. You don't glance away from the road or look away from the road. You can glance away, but it's like, yeah, you just got to be very careful. But it is, it's the intelligent cruise control as far as it's, keeping distance between the car as well as, keeping the speed I set, So it's been pretty good. I did have one instance where it slowed down for seemingly no reason, but I caught it very quickly. I didn't let it do, completely slow me down. I just went ahead and accelerated because I could see the guy on the right wanted to get into this lane, so I didn't want to be a jerk to him. So
That was a little weird. It felt a little weird. It wasn't sudden, but it was notable.
Yeah, it was going to drop 5 to 10 miles an hour, I think. But I caught it after like 2 miles an hour.
So you're currently using I think they call it adaptive cruise control, right?
I actually tapped the brakes because I thought that guy was coming over. So I still have it off right now, and I could turn it back on, and now it's doing that thing. But I have it set for higher, but because the boat's in front of us, it's keeping the distance the way I set. And of course I can adjust the following distance. And the boat slowed down, so it's slowing down a little bit more. It's doing a fine job of that. It does have lane keep assist, but that just sort of vibrates and lets me know when I'm getting close to the lanes, which you never want to let it do anyways. So I do have a little bit of the safety features like that, but I wish I had the complete lane, at least lane centering, but it does not.
Lane centering would be good. So the lane keep assist, does it vibrate on the seat?
Yeah.
But then it also vibrates on the seat, like if something else is happening too, huh?
Yeah, the vibration in the seat is a Chevy thing. It's actually really cool because like when you're making a left turn or turn on your blinker, and like if there's somebody there, it'll vibrate going like, hey, there's somebody there, in addition to displaying like the orange light in the mirror. So it's very helpful. And then like when you're parking or something like that, if you get too close to the wall, or whatever, like it'll vibrate both sides. So it's a neat extra way to warn you. The only thing I don't like about it is sometimes, like if you're in a double left turn lane and you start turning left and there's a car next to you, it freaks out a little bit because it's like, hey, there's a car there. And I'm like, yes, we're both making a left turn. It's okay.
Yeah. Or in our street, what I find, because our residential street is quite small.
Yeah.
Sometimes when someone's like just coming opposite, it like buzzes. I'm like, we're in our lanes, but
Yep.
I think we first experienced it in the Hummer, huh?
Yeah.
Stalled vehicle up ahead.
They just got on the road. It's that car right there. So
wow.
It's not there anymore.
Right. We're 49 miles from Barstow. I totally already have to pee.
Yeah.
It's everything's guided by bathroom breaks for me personally.
Yeah. I before Barstow, we hit Hesperia, which we've charged at in the Mach-E, maybe the Model Y. I'm trying to remember our exact details of that trip. No, it's all, never mind. Now I do remember. But anyways, it's like we're dictated by our bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
And it's not like a direct comparison doing this road trip, because like in the Model Y, I believe we stopped to meet a friend like 30 miles earlier. So we met a friend for coffee in the morning, and then in the Mach-E, like we wanted to stop and check out a Circle K charger in Hesperia. So it's sort of like, it's not a direct comparison, but I know for both of those cars, like there was just absolutely no way we were going to make Vegas. So we were going to have to do a charging stop. And I think we ended up doing 2 in the Mach-E because we had that earlier stop that really didn't help. But it's tempting to see like how close we could be. Right now, it's estimating we would be at 12% when we hit Baker. So we need more than 12% to go from Baker into Vegas. So we definitely do have to at least charge. We can't make it on one charge.
We could maybe if we drove really slowly.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
No, I know, but I still think it's cool. Like, we have quite a long range vehicle, really.
Yeah, but in overall, my thought process is like around town, range doesn't really matter. On a road trip, we're doing about 300 miles, which is a decent road trip for like a weekend getaway. And it really doesn't matter like a 260 mile range car versus a 319 mile range car. Faster charging versus slower charging. It's really not going to make that much difference. It may be 15, 20 minutes difference. And a lot of that doesn't matter because we may stop and we may eat lunch, and our charging stop is going to be dictated by our lunch break, not necessarily by the car's charging. So
yeah, totally. And by the way, though, I think the long range is a factor at home, because we charge this up and then we just park it in the driveway and don't have to worry about it much because it just lasts quite a while. So like, I feel like the Leaf, I was just like, would go drive and then plug it in, you know, like you always had to.
Yeah.
But obviously that was like way low range. If you don't know, it was like max 50 miles of range. But I'm trying to look at my glasses in there because they are tinting.
Yeah, I can see.
And I like it. It's kind of nice because it's just like a little bit of tinting that I'm missing from the windows. Should we tint the windows?
It's a 2-year lease, so can we deal with it? And a lot of it's going to be around town and not road trips after this.
I'm probably fine with it. I'll just wear these glasses all the time. It's kind of handy. I wonder if I could like tint one and not the other. Anyways, we'll stop subjecting you to this. Enjoy the city of Hesperia. Now knowing that we're here, I'm like, we could totally go to the bathroom quickly. No, we're almost there. Let's go.
Welcome to Barstow, currently the world's largest supercharger.
Woohoo.
We have to confess, we did make a bathroom stop right before we got here, and it was mostly because like we need to start filming as soon as we get here. We're going to try to film 2 or 3 videos, so just made sense to go to the bathroom, and then now we can just focus on this. So that's why our current trip is so short, but since we left our house, we've done 143.2 miles and 2.8 miles of efficiency. What is our battery percentage?
I guess you got to change your screen.
Yeah. We'll do that real quick. We'll figure it out.
If you can't tell that we're new to this car, there you go, 44%.
44% battery. So normally we wouldn't stop here. We would probably go to like Baker or something like that, or there's one in Viermo or something like that. But we did want to check this out. We're not in a hurry to hop out and charge. That's the other thing is we wouldn't normally sit here and chat like that. But because there's 120 stalls, it's fairly empty. We're going to explore this. We're going to do other videos as well on how to charge the Equinox at a supercharger, as well as touring this big location. So normally for road trips, we show that we're plugging in, but we are recording like another video of like how to charge on a Tesla supercharger for the Equinox. So I'll just tell you, I'm using our A to Z adapter. I plugged in. It started at 131 kilowatts, and now it's slowed down. It's already down to 80 kilowatts. That's a lot due to the fact that we're at 40-something% state of charge. I think I said, what was it, 41 cents per kilowatt hour? I'll double check that before we go.
That I do not recall, but of course we will have a charging summary when we're done.
Yeah, we'll do a charging summary when we're done. And again, we don't need that much range. It's basically an additional like 20 miles would probably get us to Vegas, but we're going to charge a lot, so we don't have to rely on the charging in Vegas. But we wanted to do that intro charging video, so go look for that video. But we're also going to take a tour of this brand new world's largest Tesla supercharger at the current moment.
When you're trying to film videos and this happens right behind you and you don't have that much time, wah wah. What you gonna do? Just a little thing, we just noticed a Denali pull in and then an ICE GMC coming after them, so we have to go say hi.
Yeah, we're gonna go at least see what if they're willing.
If they're willing.
By the way, we walked around, we filmed our video. I'm not gonna hop in, but we're at 81%. It says it's fast charging to 95%, but this is the slow part. Let me see how fast we're charging just real quick in the Tesla app. 47 kilowatts. So sort of to be expected.
Yeah.
Above 80%. In the Mach-E, we're usually at about 45, and this is 46 kilowatts, so pretty much identical. So far, we've had about 37 kilowatt hours. We're not going to stop just yet, even though we could. We're going to check out some more things, continue filming some of the other videos as well before we get back on the road.
Okay, what's up? These are our new friends, Greg and Barbie, and the entire furry family, who are adorable. Names that I've completely forgotten already, except Bubbles, who's peeking over there. Bubbles.
Shelby, just like the Shelby Mustang.
Shelby like the Mustang. That's Shelby over there. And
Dixie.
Dixie, yay. So this is the inauguration. This is the first trip with their new Denali. And obviously they like Denalis because Barbie is following with their old Denali and they're testing everything out. How's it going, you guys?
Love it.
Love it?
Love it.
That's awesome.
Great car.
That is
Great
awesome.
Truck, sorry.
And you like driving it too?
Yes.
Nice.
It's the Hummer EV.
I drive the Hummer.
Well,
EV
you have
too.
the Hummer as well. Okay, you have an
SUV.
amazing matchup, amazing mix-up of EVs.
Hummer
yeah.
fits in the garage. That doesn't.
Are you kidding? What? We had...
It fit in the garage.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah.
What, you wouldn't think
Hummer
you'd get a Hummer so that it could fit in your garage?
Yeah.
That's good to know. Well, hopefully we'll see you guys at a meetup in the future.
Sounds good.
Sure.
Yay, so nice to meet you.
Safe travels.
All right, we've been here forever.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm going to go ahead and stop the charging. We're at 94%. The app says 93. It says it'll be ready in 5 minutes to get to 95%. It's $20.09. 16 kilowatts is what it's charging at now. That's fine. We're very high state of charge, and we had 49.035 kilowatt hours. It just ticked up slightly. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and I need to hit stop charging. There's no stop button.
No button.
So I'm gonna hit stop charging on the app. You can do it in the car as well. I heard it let go of the adapter. Let me unplug, pull this out, push, and it's just one latch on the A to Z Typhoon Pro. So I just hold that down and I can pull that out. We'll put this back up. Always make sure you do it and make sure it's secure, because every once in a while I've done that where I walk away and it flops on the ground. So I always double check and make sure that's in there good. We can close this up. Got to put the little flap back in there. Close that up and we're ready to go. Hit the road.
Let's do it. Hello.
Okay, we just programmed in our hotel. We're staying at the Palace Station. It's 2 hours and 14 minutes, 153 miles. We have 303 miles of range.
Ooh.
And I think the car needs some time to adjust, because it says we're going to arrive at 24% battery. So that's one of the quirks I've noticed so far with doing the Google Maps thing, is that it sort of it needs to adjust. And like earlier when we were on the way here, it was like, oh, you need 3 charging stops. No, you only need 1 charging stop. So I think it just takes a little bit of time for it to figure things out. And we'll update you on the road. We're just debating now, like, do we get lunch? Do we wait till Vegas? I think we might want to get lunch, but there's nothing other than Barstow between here and Vegas. So we're going to figure some of that
Nothing
out.
other than Baker, and we know what that
Which-
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talking over myself. Okay. All right.
Good.
Let's hit the road.
Well, Jinx, show me your
Jinx.
Coke. Okay, we discussed whether we should go to Baker, and that's a lot of dogs in that car. Okay,
On the dash.
on the dash. That was
Like literally running
distracting. There were a couple of dogs on the dash. So we discussed whether we should go to Baker. There are actually some food options that aren't at the charger, like Taco Bell, whatever. But on the way over to this charger, we saw the most interesting looking McDonald's. So we're going to check it out. first things first, if you are going to that charging station, forget about the food around there. Just go to that McDonald's or go to that, what was it called? The Barstow station, right?
Yeah,
It was
it's Barstow Station is the little touristy thing.
It was really, really sweet and a cool way to merge old and new. I like that a lot and fun to eat lunch in a train car. But the charging station itself was good.
Yeah, charging station was good. It wasn't sort of a normal charging stop for us because we were filming the extra videos, and we stopped for the bathroom before we got there. We ate after. We would have combined all of that, and it would have been a much quicker stop. And I probably wouldn't have gone to 90-some%. I didn't mind because, again, charging in Vegas is just not always the easiest. So it's nice that we have 281 miles of range and 87% battery.
Yeah, that's epic. And of course, part of that was we had to meet Greg and Barbie and Dixie and Shelby and Bubbles. So very important too. If their dog's around, you have to meet them. That was a nice treat. And see their Denali. I love that there was a double Denali family. That was really cool. And they have the Hummer
Yeah.
EV.
Yeah, and normally I would gripe, like, don't block any chargers because they had their gas one.
They did. I got so distracted. I didn't even think about that. There were so many spots. There were so many spots there. I don't even know where you would park because, I don't know where you would park.
Yeah, they didn't have extra, but it's
Yeah.
120. So, and I'm sure they wouldn't do that if it was getting close to full.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, that was cool to see. It's interesting to know that the Denali is bigger than the Hummer. I'm assuming lengthwise, but it doesn't look bigger much. The Hummer felt enormous, didn't it? We have that video coming.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it is shorter.
Yeah. But now we are driving through the desert from Vegas to nowhere. If you know that line, that's a quote from the movie Baghdad Cafe. And we are not too far from there, so it's hard not to want to go there. Of course, as per usual, I'm distractible. We have a destination we got to plan, but there's so much fun along the way. The journey's been really fun. And now we're just cruising, huh?
Yeah, now this is the part where I really wish we had the hands-free, because it's just 140 miles or 130 miles straight shot to Vegas. It would be nice to be able to just go hands-free, and look around, enjoy the scenery, which I can glance off, but it's just a different thing when you have the hands-free. So we could have optioned it, so that's our own decision and choice. If you can get SuperCruise, I would do it if you plan on doing road trips. I absolutely think it's worth it.
What about city driving for like an hour on the highway?
Well, it depends, because SuperCruise is more limited. It doesn't work on non-map roads, but they have a lot more map roads than BlueCruise does. So, yeah, it's up to you. Personal preference, personal choice. If nothing else, if you're undecided, I would definitely try to give it take one on a test drive. It's hard to really gauge it unless you're like using roads that you use all the time and use it multiple times, because it takes a while to get used to doing hands-free.
And if you have the cash to spare, or if you can argue down the price, why not? You get it included. So I think it's like a $2,700 package.
For the first 3 years, right?
For the first 3 years, yeah. So that gets you a car that is SuperCruise capable. So you need the steering wheel that has it. We will never be able to make this SuperCruise capable. It's not something you can do after the fact. But you get it for 3 years included in that price. And then you don't have to continue the membership if you don't want to. So if you love it, that's amazing. And it's probably better for resale and stuff like that if you have the option for SuperCruise, because then other people can elect to do that too. Oh, by the way, I switched my glasses. Zenny sent me these other glasses too. So I'm trying out this frame, and it was kind of handy to have glasses with the transition while we were out and about. But now we're just sitting in the car. I do want to show something though I really like about the Equinox, that you can customize the driver's screen, the instrument cluster, because you have I think this is your favorite, isn't it? The information heavy plus navigation.
Have been really using the map a lot, but yeah, I like all the different screens, and I can have like my trip information up, how many kilowatts it's actually using. So there's so many different screen options, and I can change some of like what's on the right side, I believe. But it's just really neat, and that's more of the calm one there. I know you can't see all of these that well, but for right now, I'm going to do this one because I can see current trip. I'm at 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour, and this segment of the trip, since we left McDonald's, 3.0 miles per kilowatt hour. Actually, I reset that at the Supercharger. So anyways, now it's just this for many miles.
Yeah, I could see how SuperCruise or BlueCruise would be really good. Yeah. Ooh, I'm glad we're not charging there. It's full?
Close.
Ooh. So that was the Baker charging station. We had a great stop though, but I spy with my little eye the world's largest thermometer. Not looking very large right now, but there it is. What's the temperature?
62 on there, 68 according to the car.
Haha. And now we are an hour and 17 from our destination. Woo-hoo. Hey, Patrick.
Hello.
What's that?
Solar farm. But
Ooh.
it uses not solar panels, it uses mirrors to heat up those bright center points. And I think it uses, if I'm not mistaken, molten salt, sodium, and then stores that heat in the molten salt form, and it generates electricity based off of that.
That's super cool. And we have to document this every single time that we come by.
Because if we don't, somebody will say something.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
No, it's great. And honestly, we documented it every time we went by anyways. And then the one time we didn't, someone commented. So I love that because it let us know that, yes, you guys appreciate seeing this stuff too, because we think it's really, really cool. There's so much space out here, and the fact that they're doing something like that out here, doing something so cool and utilizing the space so well.
And there are solar panels over to the right that are traditional solar panels.
No more boring. That is an insane amount of solar panels down there, though. It's really
I think
cool.
this is years ago that they built the solar array like that. And it was a bit experimental, and I'm assuming that it's not as successful as they wanted it to be, because I know there's other projects going in the Mojave Desert, for example, and they're just going with straight solar panels. So I'm guessing that they were hoping for more efficiency, more energy production from that, but it's just easier just to put a bunch of solar panels out.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. We'd love to take a tour or check it out closer. It would be interesting to know, was it cost prohibitive or something like that? And I just realized, are we in? No, okay. We're still in California.
That's
It's calm.
agricultural checkpoint coming into California, but
Yeah.
the border is up there at where you can see the
Oh,
casinos.
I see that. Exciting. Yay! Welcome to Nevada! Boo, 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 boo. Woohoo!
We are on the outskirts of Vegas. I can see in the distance, first casinos. I see the Raiders Stadium. So we're pretty much done.
It's so trippy because I'm still like in my mind, Vegas is a 15-hour thing. Is that how long it was from Denver?
Pretty much. It was a
Yeah.
full day's drive, 750 miles or so, maybe 800 from Fort Collins.
Yeah. If you don't know, we did the race to Vegas. I think it was the first one or something.
Yep.
We won't spoil anything.
We lost.
Oh, I mean, are you surprised? If you've been watching this, are you surprised? We took like how long at that charging stop? Single charging stop?
Yeah.
But it feels so cool that like it's one charging stop. It's not an urgent charging stop. This was quick and easy. A 5-hour drive is really lovely. Like that's sort of my sweet spot. I really like it. Be interested to know like what's 5 hours from you? What's your sweet spot in length of favorite road trip length? It's something we've asked before, but I just think it's really interesting to know like people's different wishes. This is interesting. All the houses out here.
Now we can really see the casinos coming into view. And that wasn't the Raiders Stadium I saw, so I don't know what that was. But anyways,
It had a big M on it. I don't know
we're
what
going through technically a construction zone, so they dropped the speed limit down to 55. I'll admit I'm doing slightly over, but people are flying through here. I don't see any reason that we really need to slow down, but that fines doubled in construction zone always scares me.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
love
like,
that.
is that just a way they're going to generate some revenue? So I slow down. I'm not in a hurry. We're going to get to the hotel at 2:44. Check-in time is at 3. So
That's great. I
Yeah.
mean, we really took it easy this road trip.
yeah, and that, easy road trip. The car was very comfortable.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't mind having ventilated seats. Our Mach-E doesn't have ventilated seats, but now that's what I want in all cars. But the overall comfortable seats, quiet drive, quiet interior. Everything just, it was a comfortable day anyway, so we didn't stress out the heat or the AC. It was just all good.
Okay, differences between this and the Mach-E though. It is tighter. It does feel more compact. I was gesturing and I banged my hand on the mug. We had to switch. I don't know if you can see, probably not, but I'll show you just right here. We had to switch so that my giant mug was the forward one and Patrick's coffee mug was the back one, because otherwise it was like in his area where his hand wants to go. So
Well, I couldn't get to mine because yours is big.
yeah, that too. So if you both have things like this, that's kind of an interesting predicament, but it definitely just feels a little closer together. And it really bugs me that this opens that way. So if I want to get to anything, not that we have much there, we do have our cool escape tool. And actually, did you move it? Because I put it over here
Yeah, I
previously.
moved it.
Okay. So it just, as a passenger, that bugs me. As a driver, it's no big deal. But so those were some differences, little differences, just feeling it on the road trip. The screen is harder to get to as the passenger because it's tilted towards the driver. So me, if I'm trying to adjust the volume or things like that, especially having dexterity problems with my left hand, that's much harder for me to do since it's driver oriented. Not a problem around town because I'm normally the one driving it around town.
This is the front wheel drive, so it's not very powerful. And we have the GT Performance Edition of the Mach-E, which of course is powerful, but that's why our range is low. Doesn't really matter 95% of the time, but there were a couple of times when you could see a truck was going slow and I needed to jump into the like line of traffic just flying around. And it was like pedal to the metal to be able to match the speed of the traffic. So it felt a bit sluggish, but 99% of the time, even the power of the front wheel drive is good. The all wheel drive has even more pep. So it isn't, I know that like if quickness is your thing, you're going to look for like the Blazer SS, a Mach-E GT, Ioniq 5N, whatever, But if you're looking for just cruising on the freeway on a road trip, Even the front wheel drive is nice. Getting on the on-ramps, I did a couple of pedal to the metal to get up to the speed. Basically, if you don't know what that is, pedal all the way down. But it's still a sign. It's really good.
Yeah, it really, like, that is something to be aware. If you want power, if you want to be able to really have some good get up and go, you will notice the lack of that in this car. I'm fine with that. In fact, I kind of prefer it. I like a little more of a sluggish drive, but that's really up to you. If you do want more, all-wheel drive. If you want more, not this car. But other than that, really quiet cabin. Really, really good suspension. It's just weird. It's like really comfortable. It handles the bumps well. Everything feels good. I'm glad we have that dash pad on the dash because there hasn't been any glare issues.
Yeah.
And I was noticing like there might have been a couple times that there could have been glare issues.
Like actually right now, sometimes when we get that glare, depending on what direction we're going in this time of day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I sort of wish we could test like a Mach-E Select or
We should.
premium all-wheel drive, whatever, or rear-wheel drive with all of the range and compare it. But it is what it is. We have what we have, and I wish we
try test that.
Yeah, it would. I would love, like, we get to test cars, but we don't necessarily get to do road trips in cars that we get to test. So this has been interesting. We rented a Model Y, and again, between Model Y, Mach-E, and this, they're all nice road trippers, especially since we have access to the Supercharger network in Chevy and Ford now. It feels a lot more comparable as far as range / charging anxiety. If this one had SuperCruise, this would be very, very comparable. That was like the biggest difference,
Huge.
really.
Yeah, really biggest difference. Other than that, it's been a good road trip. I have to give a shout out to my favorite road trip food, biltong. If you're South African, you know what this is. If you watched our videos before, you know what this is. If you don't, it's like what jerky wishes it was. It's what jerky becomes when it goes to college and grows up. Huh?
Just look it up. It's different.
Look it up. It's different. It's delicious. We found this place in Escondido. Yebo biltong. Yebo means yes. So yes, biltong. It's so good. So we're like, normally we used to get jerky on a road trip, but then Patrick was like, we could totally just splurge and get biltong. Or maybe I did that. I don't know. Anyways, nice road trip treat. We're about to hit traffic. We see casinos. We are going to finish up this drive. We have arrived.
We're going to finish up just with trip stats. We did 296.3 miles today, 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. Since we charged, it was 153 miles, 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. The current trip was 2 hours and 19 minutes, and that's from McDonald's. I don't think we tracked the time like we normally do on our previous segment, but anyways, nice relaxed trip. I think we're ready to call this trip a wrap. Finished with 109 miles of range. Let me see what percent battery. That's the other key.
And obviously we're in glare, so Patrick's trying to hide the glare. That's why he looks really comfortable there.
37% battery and blocking everything. 37% battery. So they have 4 chargers here. We may ask about those, but we may just find charging sometime this week. We're not in a huge rush. We're not driving a ton. So at some point in the next day or two, we can charge for the week, and then we're good to go. So let's flip around and say goodbye. We're going to say goodbye, but we're going to tell you right now, we're going to add like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, maybe a minute of Meow Wolf after the end of the video. So if you don't know what Meow Wolf is, we're going to show you, and it's Meow Wolf Las Vegas. They're all different themes, different whatever. So
this one is a Mega Mart, so we're just going to the grocery store.
Yeah. Stay tuned. But thank you guys for, checking us out on this video where we took a road trip from Oceanside to Las Vegas, our first time and probably last time road tripping in the Equinox, but we'll see. It was a lot of fun. It's always neat to do the comparisons, and glad that you guys stuck around for the whole video to watch this whole thing. And maybe we'll let you guys vote on like where our next road trip is at and things like that.
I love it. Yeah, vote down below where our next road trip should be. And if you stuck around to the end, we're at Palace Station, so leave a crown. That'd be cute, right?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, one of our first road trips, big long road trips, in our first Mach-E back in June of 2021, we went from Denver, and one of our first big stops was Las Vegas here in Palace Station, and we went to Meow Wolf then. So if you want to see Meow Wolf, it was in that video as well.
Yeah, and we also charged right there in the garage, and we know this area. It's always nice when you know a hotel has charging, all that. So I'm really curious to check it out anyways, just because it was a successful experience that we had before. If you have an Equinox EV and you don't have SuperCruise, you can totally road trip it. It's fine. I think the reason us saying you wouldn't road trip this is because there's no SuperCruise and we have the option of BlueCruise. If you didn't have the option, it's perfectly fine.
And we're paying for BlueCruise.
Yeah.
We're not. It's free right now. We're still within our 3 years, but then we'll start paying for it.
And we will pay for BlueCruise. So it's like, what are we going to pay for? Perfectly fine road tripping the Equinox EV without SuperCruise, but optimal to have SuperCruise. How do you feel? Do you feel less rested than normal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't horrible traffic, but there were some times when we were doing like 70, then 50, then 30, then 70. And it was like, had to pay extra attention, which the car was handling the speeding up and slowing down, but I was still being a little bit extra cautious and focusing on the driving portions. I don't know, or the steering portion, because we're always driving.
Yeah, that's interesting and that's informative. So if you're coming from driving like a normal vehicle, then it probably won't be a big difference to you. But if you're coming from an ADAS system like BlueCruise that has such good features, then you'll probably miss it.
I do want to note, of course, we haven't done this trip with SuperCruise. We did do it with autopilot. And by the way, autopilot was actually annoying because the way it works is like it puts you where it thinks it wants to put you in the lane. And going through Barstow area with all of the construction, there was like a bunch of ridges and things like that and like grooved pavement, and it was kept tossing me around, but you can't adjust that at all. With BlueCruise, when we did that, I basically just nudged the car about like a foot to the left and kept it that way, and it was fine, and it was still doing the steering, but it's like you can make those adjustments. With autopilot, you can't. And I really would like to try SuperCruise to see if I can make those same adjustments.
I was just going to say, should we do this drive again with SuperCruise?
We could ask if we can borrow a SuperCruise capable car, maybe a Silverado.
Do we need to do it in an Equinox or do we need to do it in a Silverado?
Both.
Both? Okay. We're going to be coming back here a lot. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us for this video in which we went all the way from Oceanside, California to Las Vegas, Nevada for the Consumer Electronics Show in our new Equinox EV, Aquanox. If you don't know, thank you to David Madison for the name of this sweet EV. He is one of our amazing patrons and friends, and all other patrons are scrolling across the screen right now. Over there.
Yes.
There. Patrick's holding up the handicap placard, so it's not blocking the camera. That's why he looks weird.
And more shade.
More shade. I like it. Huge thank you to our YouTube members too. You'll know them by the lightning bolts next to their name. You guys are amazing, and some of you have been around and supporting us on YouTube as members for almost a year. So we're going to have to design new emojis, little things next to your name. I think we're changing the colors or something like that.
We'll see. Let us know.
Yeah. Anyways, we got to run. We got to check in. Patrick's going for a haircut. We're going to Meow Wolf. Thank you so much for joining us for this video. And just remember that whatever you drive, whether it's to Vegas or not, whether it's with SuperCruise, BlueCruise, or UCruise, whatever. Enjoy the ride. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.